so much to Allison and Tim for letting me come and talk about issue 1 today. Thank you so much for coming here this evening. We're so grateful. Everybody's lives and schedules are so busy, and we are so grateful for people who are dedicated to the Democratic Party and to the Democratic cause and to issue 1. So we're really grateful for the time that you had to come here tonight and participate in the South Dayton Democratic Club meeting. It's good to see a lot of old and new faces. So I was asked to come talk about issue 1. I've been involved with issue 1 in March. I was asked to be the co-lead for Montgomery County Democratic Party for getting signatures for getting this issue on the ballot. I stepped away once we did the transition to the August campaign, but I have been canvassing. I've been doing my duties as a precinct captain. I've been talking about this with everybody. I've got a yard sign. There are yard signs in the back, right, Laurel?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm really, really grateful that I can come here and talk to you guys a little bit about issue 1, give you some historical context, and talk about a lot of the really scary misinformation that's out there right now. So to start, historical context, why are we here? Why do we even have issue 1? In April of 2019, Governor DeWine signed the 6-week abortion ban that has no exceptions for rape or incest. No exceptions. 6 weeks, that's so early. So many people don't even know that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. It was a huge violation of our right to privacy, of our right to bodily autonomy. Really, really, really disturbing. It was immediately challenged and held up in court. Current law in Ohio is abortions are legal up to 22 weeks. There are still some restrictions, but the 6-week abortion ban was immediately challenged and held up in the court, which brought us to June of 22 last year, when the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade, and the right to access to abortion across the country was taken away in so many different states. An hour after the Dobbs decision, Attorney General Dave Yost filed to have a federal court lift the injunction, and the 6-week ban was back in effect. An hour after the Dobbs decision. It happened so fast. I don't know about you guys, I remember how I felt that day, and it was devastating. This is a really, really pivotal moment, and we deserve the right to make our own reproductive health care decisions. Following that, in September and October of 22 last year, the Hamilton County Court of Common Pleas issued a temporary restraining order and injunction against the 6-week ban. So right now, the 6-week ban is under injunction. It is not in effect. We still have the 22 weeks. But currently, the injunction is being considered by the Republican majority Ohio Supreme Court. We know that they don't care about the right to privacy and the right to bodily autonomy. If they lift the injunction, the 6-week ban is back in effect. That's where we are. So there were some groups that knew exactly what that meant. Right away, people were not able to access abortions, life-saving medical health care decisions. And so a group of organizations came together, and they decided that we needed to have a citizen ballot initiative so that we could vote on the right to privacy and the right to access to abortion in Ohio, not politicians. I'm a politician. I'm on the Dayton School Board. It doesn't matter. I have no right to tell you what to do with your body, and you have no right to tell me what to do with my body. That should not be the decision of politicians. It should be an individual decision under the right to privacy. So this is why issue 1 is so important. These 5 groups came together, and they said, we are going to work together, and we are going to write a ballot initiative, a citizen ballot initiative. It was the Ohioans United for Reproductive Rights, Planned Parenthood Advocates for Ohio, ACLU of Ohio, Abortion Fund of Ohio, and Pro-Choice Ohio. They came together, 5 different groups who have 5 different lenses on. If you guys have ever done a group project, you know group projects are hard, right? There are compromises that you have to make. Not everybody gets exactly what they want. I got a little bit of a behind the scenes look at this group as they were trying to craft the language of the bill, the ballot initiative. It was really interesting to hear the give and take. There are some things that some people wanted and some people didn't. It was very, very thoughtfully written. It's not perfect, right? But it's better than the 6-week ban. And it is written with the idea that we have the right to privacy, we have the right to bodily autonomy. So that is where the citizen ballot initiative came from. I'm really grateful for all the work that they did and how carefully they put it together. I'm going to tell you about some of the misinformation about issue 1 now, okay? Don't read this. Don't look at this yet, okay? I'm going to tell you the lies that they're telling you about issue 1 because that's what they are. They are lies. They are lies. They cannot argue the merits of this ballot initiative because they cannot argue about the right to privacy and the many different circumstances and reasons why people get abortions because they know they'll lose. So they're making up lies about what issue 1 is and what it is not, and they're trying to scare people. And I don't want you guys to be scared. I want you to be educated, and I want you to know exactly what these lies are, so when you hear them, you know what they're saying, okay? So the 3 big pieces of misinformation about issue 1 is that issue 1 takes away parental rights, and that alternatively, it lets minors get sex change surgery without parental consent. That is a lie, okay? We're gonna get to that. Misinformation number 2, it denies the rights of women because it doesn't use the word woman. Okay, yep, that is an argument. And the 3rd biggest piece of misinformation is that it allows late term and full term abortions. These are lies, this is misinformation. Okay, let's go through these one by one. The first, parental rights. This law does not impact existing parental consent law in Ohio. Minors still need parental consent to obtain an abortion, and minors still need parental consent to obtain gender-affirming care, okay? This does nothing to change the parental consent laws. If you are a minor in Ohio, you have to have parental consent to get any health care decision. Yes?
I've heard some of them argue with this misinformation, number 1 point, is that in the wording it says individual.
Yes.
And so they twist that to say, well, that's a child.
Yes.
So how do we argue against that?
It says nothing about parental consent in the amendment. Go to readtheamendment.com, read it for yourself. It is a lie. They are twisting a word that was chosen very carefully, and they're trying to get you to believe that it changes an entire section of the law. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that's not the way the law works. Yes.
I believe if any of the misinformation was a part of this ruling, it would be a 2-part issue, which would not have passed the Supreme Court of Ohio's ability for it to even be on the ballot.
That is a very, very good point.
So that's
yes.
that's how I describe, that's how I tell people, if that were true, it would be a 2-part issue, which would not have passed the Supreme Court of Ohio and would not have been allowed on the ballot.
Yep. Does that make sense?
Alaska allows 2-part citizen ballots. We don't here in Ohio.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. But it says nothing about parental consent. It does say the word individuals, but that does not mean that it changes an entire section and law of the Ohio Revised Code. Yes, minors still need, yes, that is misinformation number 1. It changes nothing about parental consent law, okay? Misinformation number 2, where's the word woman, okay? This is bullshit. This is high octane bullshit, you guys. And do you want to know why?
It's sexist.
It's sexist. Here's the thing. Do you guys all remember the story of the 10-year-old child who was raped last year and needed an abortion and had to travel out of the state of Ohio to get that abortion? Is a 10-year-old child a woman? No. They need abortions too. By saying the word women, we are limiting the people who can access health care. It's bullshit, okay? Lots of people need abortions and not all of them are women. Some of them are children. It is as simple as that. There's no arguing against that. You tell me a 10-year-old child is a woman. It's not. I feel very strongly about that. Misinformation number 3, it allows full and late-term abortions. At its core, issue 1 takes politicians out of this very personal decision, okay? It takes them out of our reproductive health care choices and gives it to the only people who should be making that decision. The people who are pregnant, whether they are women, whether they are children, the people who are pregnant in consultation with their doctors, okay? It does nothing to allow full or late-term abortions. And I would also like to say, full-term and late-term abortion is not a medical term. They do not use it in the medical field. It is only used in anti-choice circles, okay? If I were pregnant right now and I were 25 weeks, right? Past the term of viability, but not ready to yet give birth to a child who is, it can exist without severe medical interventions. If I were pregnant 25 weeks and I developed preeclampsia, the doctors would not perform an abortion on me for my health care, right? They would induce labor and then they would provide life-saving medical care to that preterm baby. That's how it works. Doctors do not provide full and late-term abortions. It doesn't exist. Doctors know what's best for their patients, and patients know what's best for themselves. And issue one takes politicians out of that decision and lets us make it for ourselves. It's as simple as that. Full and late-term abortions don't exist. That is not a medical term. Yvonne.
I was just gonna say, somebody who's 8 or 9 months pregnant, that's called induction of labor.
Yes.
If it's a viable fetus, the baby will be born alive, and if nobody has late term, that kind of an abortion unless they know that they have something like an anencephalic baby where the brain is gone.
Yeah.
The fetus cannot live for more than an hour or two after it's delivered.
Yeah.
And why would you make somebody carry, if they know that at 22 or 24 weeks from an ultrasound, why would you make somebody carry that fetus to term and feel it kick and move? And I mean, that's cruel and inhumane for the mother. I worked in Dayton's first abortion clinic in 1975. I got a little experience with this kind of stuff. And not only are 10-year-olds not women, neither are 12 or 13-year-olds,
Yes.
and I have taken care of them. That's child abuse to make them have a baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
They're not old enough to.
Yes.
Yesterday, I attended a session by the League of Women Voters, and a doctor was there providing straight medical issues in its 0.06% late term.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's very, very rare situation.
And those are cases in which the fetus is not viable.
Yes.
And that is a decision that the pregnant person gets to make, whether they want to decide to carry that baby to term and deliver naturally, or whether they don't have the emotional bandwidth to do it. That's not my decision to make. That's not your decision to make. That is the person who is carrying that child. That is their decision to make. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, the number about abortions, 66% abortions in Ohio that happened last year happened before the 9th week of gestation. 22.6% of abortions happened between 13 and 18 weeks. Most abortions happen early because women know early on whether it's something that they can handle, whether it's something that their health can handle. We should trust women. They know what's best for themselves. Okay, so that's what issue one is and is not. You guys know the misinformation. Here's what a yes vote means and a no vote means, okay? Yes on issue one would establish the right to abortion, reproductive health care, contraception, and miscarriage and fertility treatments in the Constitution. Now I say that, I point that out, because when issue one passes, and I truly think it's gonna pass, but we still have to fight like hell to make sure it passes. When it passes, it's not over. We've only won a battle and we still have the war to fight. That's why it still matters that we elect people who are not just wishy-washy on abortion, right? That's why it matters that we elect Democrats who will argue for the right to abortion as loud as they possibly can. It's not gonna end on November 7th. It has to keep on going. We have to elect Democrats who firmly believe that everybody has the right to their own bodily autonomy. There is a legislator, Jean Schmidt, who said publicly that she wants to have a discussion about banning birth control. That's why it matters that we elect pro-choice Democrats, okay? Issue one will protect it, and it will be one battle won, and then we have to continue to fight the rest of the battles. A no vote on issue one would uphold the 6-week abortion ban with no exceptions for rape or incest. No exceptions, okay? I'm a little wonky. These are my citations. If you wanted to read up a little bit more about that, I can give them to you later. If you want to talk to me later, please send me an email. This is my cell phone. Call me. I would love to talk to you about it. This is so important to me. I'm a board member of Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio. I'm a Dayton school board member, so I know how deeply this affects youth. You know, we have teenagers who have to deal with pregnancies. I'm a mom. I've got kids. I'm pro-choice. And if my kids needed an abortion, I would make sure that they had the resources to be able to access abortion. But the whole thing about issue one is that it's our decision. I'm not going to tell you that you have to get an abortion. You can't tell me that I can't get an abortion. These are our own decisions. So this is why I am in full support of issue one. Thank you again. Are there any questions? Anything that I missed? Did I miss any information?
Do you have a readout of your
I can,
presentation, or like a printed one? or-
Tim and Allison have it and they can email it out to you. Yeah,
Okay, great.
happy to provide that.
Minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Something I saw earlier today on a sign said something about protect children,
yes,
These aren't babies.
and it really pissed me off.
yes,
Because I knew they were liars,
yes.
but how, maybe you already said it earlier, but how could they say they're protecting children when they sent that 10-year-old girl out of the state to get treatment
That,
Yep,
for a rape
yes,
that could have killed her if she carried that
yeah,
piece to term?
yeah. It's bullshit. That's all it is. I can't argue against it because it's ridiculous, high octane bullshit.
They're protecting fetuses.
Yeah,
Because they don't wanna pay for WIC and they don't wanna pay for preschool for kids who need it. They don't wanna pay for all the stuff once those babies are born. They just wanna make sure they're born.
yeah.
Pro-birth,
Yep.
not pro-life.
Just the very fact that 1 in 4 women is sexually assaulted in her lifetime.
at least one.
Mhm.
Those are the numbers we know of, right? This is why I'm gonna let you decide what you get, what medical decisions you make about your body. Yes,
Okay, I've been taking notes, and the one thing somebody asked me to find out tonight, and I'm not sure I understood. Why does it use the word individual? I realized that later on you said, they didn't use the word woman because a 10-year-old child is not a woman. Is that the same rationale behind why they use the word individual?
I was not part of that decision, but I would assume so. It's legal language. And what they're doing is they're taking legal language that can sound dry and very medical, right? And they're using that for saying, oh, they're trying to trick you, and it's legal language, yeah.
One other quick thing, and maybe you're going to address it. My biggest concern is that there is confusion because we told everybody, vote no
Yes.
in August, and
Yes.
now we're telling them to vote yes.
Yep.
So that is the biggest thing, because I agree with you. I think most people, if they really understood the language,
Yeah.
we can get it passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the no in August and yes in November, right? That's how we are. I was even confused when I got into the ballot box, and I've been talking about this for months. This was deliberately done by Republicans, the radical extremist Republicans who do not want us to let us have control over our own bodies, did that on purpose. They are trying to confuse people. They are trying to create a lot of misinformation. That's why. It's really frustrating. Yes?
Go ahead.
Well, another piece of misinformation that I have seen out there is, well, issue 1 doesn't matter because abortion's legal in Ohio anyway. And I thought that was really important that you mentioned it's only legal because of this injunction that will probably be struck down.
Yes.
So if you hear that argument, well, it doesn't matter because it's legal anyway, it's really important that people understand it is legal now, but it probably won't be for long. And I think that's a really tricky thing. And so it's just interesting that the other side is using the fact that it is legal as an argument for their side.
Yes. And it's only legal because we're fighting against their extremist Republican legislation. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate that. Yes.
Something else that I've not heard anybody make much of a point about is issue 1 would prevent the legislature from passing more restrictions on abortion.
Yes.
You know, the heartbeat bill has, not the heartbeat bill, the personhood
Yeah.
bill has been introduced repeatedly and could pass. And
Yeah.
that would have massive implications for contraception and fertility treatments
Yes.
along with abortion.
Yep. That's why it's important to elect pro-choice Democrats.
So the next
Full stop.
petition drive is anti-gerrymandering?
Yes. That's another conversation. Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to the Daily News. I don't know if you read the article, I think it was yesterday. They called out Mike DeWine, who lied,
Right.
and about partial birth
Yes.
abortions. Him saying if you passes, it will override everything they'll be allowed, and that is totally false. It is
Yeah.
a federal ban.
Yep.
He was with George W. Bush when they signed it. He knows very well that it will not override federal law always has.
Yeah. Thank you. Mike DeWine's ad about how he was concerned the issue one just goes too far is
Yeah.
bullshit when he
Yeah.
signed the 6-week abortion ban. Yeah, yes.
When I was canvassing, there were some people who also thought that the special election, since we had a victory and they went out and voted no, that it was all good. But that was just to get it on the ballot. So I had to explain that to them that, yeah, you have to come out November 7th and vote yes now. So make sure you're contacting your people and that they have a plan to vote and they know that it's still, you know, it's just getting it on the ballot is what that was previously.
100%.
There is, the vote no, vote yes thing. There's a woman in my district I stopped at, I'm knocking on doors for my reelection, and I stopped at her door because she had a vote yes sign. And we're chatting, and I love your sign, can I put one of mine out? She said, yeah, absolutely. Then she said, go across the street, because they have a vote yes sign, but it's from the earlier election, but they're confused, so they just put it back out. So I went over, I knocked on the door, and I never lied. I said, I really like your vote yes sign.
It goes both ways. Yes, Tony.
And I didn't lie.
There's a population that we're neglecting, and it's the medical field. And they're prepared, they're actually in a track stance to leave the state. People who are who are going to medical school, who wants to practice, and if this becomes a defeat, you know, they're ready to leave.
Yeah.
So something we need to consider about stabilizing the medical field and personnel in this state. So.
Yeah.
Some of the reports about OBGYNs leaving states is terrifying.
Yeah.
Medical students, medical students are out there with, op-eds in all the papers
Yeah.
about them not staying in Ohio if this doesn't pass.
Well, I don't think they would teach them proper treatment if it passes,
Right, right. So there's a lot to talk about. Catch me afterwards. Send me an email. Give me a call. I would love to talk with you more about it. If there's anybody else that you think should give me a call, so I can talk to them and lecture them or, you know, talk their ear off for an hour, I'm always up for it. Thank you again for Allison and Tim for inviting me, and thank you so much for having me.